Are you serious? Are you serious? Yes, we do have breaking news and good news, but then again, concerning news as relates to 5 U.S. citizens being freed from captivity in Iran. Let me tell you all about it in just a second, but first put a shout out, if I could, for thehealthyfat.com/Paul. What? Thehealthyfat.com/Paul. Guys, seriously, let me just tell you, it turns out the key to losing weight and keeping it off is not in carbs or fat or even in probiotic rich foods. No, the end game of having a healthy weight as well as some more energy and a long, healthy life comes down to a specific switch you can flip in your body to flush out those unnecessary calories. Dr. Stephen Gundry is calling this caloric bypass. You heard me, caloric bypass. And by activating this specific process in your body, he has seen thousands, and yes, thousands of people dramatically improve their health, even at age 50 and beyond. This includes losing weight, getting tons of more energy, and returning to the good health they had in their youth once they simply addressed this one key to better health. Not only that, this is actually associated with the improved digestion, strong feeling joints and muscles, and smoother skin and healthier lives, meaning it could be the key to a happy life. Dr. Stephen Gundry has lost 70 pounds himself using his research and has kept the weight off for over 20 years. And he's still counting. His digestive issues are gone. His health is fantastic, and he feels younger and healthier today than he did in his 40s. His video has been watched by over 20 million people to date, and you can watch it and learn more about how it works. Simply, guys, go to thehealthyfat.com/Paul. Click on the link below, okay, of this video. That's thehealthyfat.com/Paul. It's linked at the bottom of this video, and he'll teach you exactly how he has kept his weight off for all these years. Again, thehealthyfat.com/Paul. All right, guys, it's impressive. I mean, it's really impressive. It's a great video to watch. Yeah, I'm excited about these people finally getting out of there. I mean, I'm glad anybody gets set free from Iran, okay? No doubt about that. I mean, I'm happy that anybody gets set free from Iran. There's no question about it. But at the same time, there is concerns about what this means in the big picture of Bible prophecy. So let's just say this. The release of that $6 billion to Iran as part of this deal, that's created a delicate balance between freedom and geopolitical peril. And here's why. In recent development, 5 American citizens who had long been wrongfully detained in Iran have been liberated and are on their way home, ending their harrowing, really, years of captivity. The release comes as part of a broader diplomatic deal that entails the unfreezing of $6 billion in Iranian assets. And while the return of these individuals is certainly a cause for celebration, there are inherent dangers associated with releasing such a substantial sum to a nation which has a history of animosity towards Israel. Some argue that this could potentially intertwine with end-time Bible prophecies. You think? You see, 5 Americans have now regained their freedom. They were greeted with jubilation as they touched down in Qatar. And they're en route, of course, to their final destination, the United States. Now, this joyous reunion follows years of suffering and uncertainty for the wrongfully detained individuals. 3 of them really have endured over 5 years of captivity. And one in particular has been there sitting in prison there in Iran since 2015 for 8 years, making his release, literally, guys, a moment for his family and supporters, a great celebration. So notably, the release of these Americans also marks the return of family members who had been unable to leave Iran due to the dire circumstances of their loved ones who were in prison there. So these folks are finally going to leave also, and they're very, very anxiously awaiting their arrival back in the United States. Now, President Joe Biden has expressed his gratitude for the tireless efforts of both domestic and international partners, including the governments of Qatar and Oman and Switzerland and South Korea. They were all involved in the facilitating of the release of this wrongfully detained Americans, and he underscored the relief of the nation at seeing these individuals finally coming home after years of agony and uncertainty. However, folks, amidst this moment of relief, there are concerns that are lingering regardless of the release of the $6 billion, with a B, $billion in Iranian assets. Iran has consistently posed a significant geopolitical challenge, particularly concerning its threats toward Israel. The release of these funds could potentially bolster Iran's ability to engage in activities that threaten the security and the stability of the region. And many proponents of this view argue that Iran's ambitions to develop nuclear capabilities and its continued support for various anti-Israeli militant proxy groups have raised alarm bells in the context of end-time Bible prophecy. These actions are seen by some as potentially fulfilling certain apocalyptic scenarios, and I'm going to share one of those to you in the book of Jeremiah in just a moment. So in conclusion, let me just say this. While the release of these 5 wrongfully detained Americans is undoubtedly a heartwarming development for their families, the broader implications of releasing $6 billion to Iran cannot be ignored. It is a delicate balance between securing freedom and ensuring political stability, particularly concerning Iran's actions toward Israel and the potential consequences within the framework of end-time Bible prophecy. The world watches with hope and caution as these complex diplomatic efforts continue to unfold. All right? Now, I'm going to take you into the Bible so you understand. Because if one guy wants to annihilate another nation, you hand him $6 billion. This really goes a long way to taking care of a lot of things, and including investing in, nuclear capability. I mean, I think it's certainly you have to admit that. But in the Bible, as I was saying, this could have end-time prophecy ramifications. It really could. What I want to do is I'm going to take you to Jeremiah chapter 49. And this talks about Persia in the last days, and this threat on Israel, and what God says is going to happen to Damascus in Syria and to Iran in the end times. So I'll start reading. If you have a Bible, go to Jeremiah chapter 49. I'll start reading verse 23. Concerning Damascus, Hamath is confounded, and Arpad, for they have heard evil tidings. They are faint-hearted. There is sorrow on the sea. It cannot be quiet. That's a constant threat over the destruction of Damascus, which you guys know Isaiah prophesied in Isaiah 17, verse 1, that Damascus would be destroyed. Well, Jeremiah is also on the same bandwagon here. He prophesies Damascus is waxed feeble. It turneth herself to flee. Fear has seized on her. Anguish and sorrows have taken her as a woman in travail. How is the city of praise not left? The city of my joy. And therefore her young men shall fall in her streets, And all the men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith the Lord of hosts. Now, you guys know that Iran constantly ships soldiers and and ammunition and arms and everything to that Damascus area, all around the Damascus area. And President Assad of Damascus, Syria, allows that. So verse 27 says, and so I will kindle a fire in the wall of Damascus, and it shall consume the palaces of Ben-Hadad. Concerning now Iran. Let me go down and start reading in verse 34. Same chapter. Jeremiah says, the word of the Lord that came to Jeremiah the prophet against Elam, which is Iran, in the beginning of the reign of Zedekiah, king of Judah. This is when he got the prophecy. He said, thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, I will break the bow, the weapon, if you will, of Elam, or Iran, the chief of their might. I will break it. I will break the bow. I will break their military weapon. And upon Iran, or Elam, will I bring the four winds from the four quarters of heaven, and will scatter them toward all those winds. And there shall be no nation, whether the outcast of Elam or Iran shall not come. Now, that has never happened. This prophecy, I know it's Old Testament, but it's never happened. Damascus is not destroyed, and the Iranians have never been hit so hard that it scattered all their people all over the world. That's not happened yet, but it will. For I will cause Elam, or Iran, to be dismayed before their enemies and before them that seek their life, and I will bring evil upon them, even my fierce anger, saith the Lord. And I will send the sword after them till I have consumed them. And I will set my throne in Elam. This is God setting his throne in Iran. Now, there's already a Christian revival going on right now in Iran, led by the women. Led by the women. They're underground. They're holding Bible studies. They're meeting, and they're growing, and people are being converted to Christianity, I mean, at a massive rate. A revival is happening in Iran right under their nose. And God said, I'm going to set my throne there. And then he says, but it shall come to pass in the latter days. So here you go. You know it's the end times, that I will bring again the captivity of Elam, or Iran, saith the Lord. So again, I'm giving you an end-time prophecy from an area nobody talks about, the book of Jeremiah, specifically about Damascus and the Persian Empire, the former Persian Empire. In that time, they called it, Daniel calls that region Persia. Jeremiah calls it Elam, but it's the same area. And you see a prophecy that revival would come. And then God was going to destroy those enemies who are enemies against Israel. And that's throughout the Bible. God said he promised he would do that, protecting Israel. Now, it's a terrible thing. We don't want the world to go to this point. We don't want it to get to this situation. But we cannot stop Bible prophecy. You're right. He's known as the weeping prophet. Matter of fact, Jeremiah wrote the book of Jeremiah, but he also wrote the book of Lamentations, which is where he weeps for the nation of Israel because of its idolatry and the fact that it turned its back on God. And Jeremiah would say, look, you're bringing curses upon the land. So this situation right here that we're watching, even though we celebrate, we understand we 5 Americans come home, it all sounds good. We got 5 people who were wrongfully detained, and for it, it cost us $6 billion of frozen assets handed to a regime who is hell-bent on trying to destroy the nation of Israel, which would bring complete chaos and instability in the Middle East. But I have a word from the Lord. It ain't going to happen. Why? Not because they won't try, not because they won't make a strike, not because they won't actually do some damage, but because God will finally step in and defend the Holy Land. Give your life to Jesus Christ. Believe me, we're getting close. Yes, I'm getting emails. People are still asking, so I'm going to say it again. Yes, you can send your Feast of Trumpets offerings in with your special prayer request all week long as we're in the feast season. Feast of Trumpets, which is known as Rosh Hashanah, we just had this weekend. We're in the 10 days of awe, which is a time of repentance. Then we'll have the Day of Atonement, celebrate that feast, and then we finish with the Feast of Tabernacles, which is 7 days, that feast. Okay, so this is a very important time for the body of Christ. It's a very important time for humanity. And really watch what goes on, because the United Nations are getting together now, and they have a hidden agenda. They have lots of hidden agendas, and we all know about Agenda 2030, okay? But they have one called the Treaty Event, and I shared that about a week or so ago, how they want to consolidate over 600 treaties that have been signed by different nations over different things. They just want to bring it all in and put it under one nice umbrella, and the whole world follow this new set of rules. Well, these new set of rules include the Paris Climate Accords, the Montreal Protocol, the laws of the sea, the agreements, the empowerment of the World Health Organization, which can allow for martial law at any time that they feel that there's a threat, a pandemic, or some other thing. And we can't go there, guys. We just can't let that happen. So it will be my next trip. Yes, Roxanne, thank you. Next trip is September 2nd next year. September 2nd through the 15th. We're taking a cruise all throughout Apostle Paul's journey. We'll start in Rome, and we'll go to Greece, and we'll hit, Corinth and Crete and some of these places, and we'll go where Apostle Paul preached. We'll go to Mars Hill, where he told him, he said, I perceive, men and brethren, that you guys are worshiping, you're too superstitious, you're worshiping an unknown God. We'll go to the places where Paul preached. Of course, it will be incredible. We'll also go to Israel. We'll make our way through the Mediterranean. We'll end up over by the Sea of Galilee. We'll actually spend one night in Tiberias along the Sea of Galilee. And we'll go to the place where Jesus fed the 5,000 on the Mount of Beatitudes. And we'll see several things over and we'll go to Capernaum, where Peter, mother-in-law, was healed by Jesus, where Jesus preached his first sermon. And then we'll go to Jerusalem, stand on the Mount of Olives. We'll go to the dungeon where Jesus was held the night before his crucifixion, and in the high priest Caiaphas' home. I know we're going to do that. I know we're going to go to the wall and pray. I know we're going to go to the Church of Holy Sepulchre and several other things while we are in Jerusalem. Okay, then we'll go back and get on the boat over there in Tel Aviv. We'll get on the boat where we will sail again, okay, from Jerusalem. And I believe we start sailing back toward Rome. So it's going to be a tremendous trip. You can go to my website, find all about it. I'm going to do a video where I'm going to actually walk you guys through that whole thing. So just keep watching. And you got time, okay? You need to go ahead and get your seats. You should reserve your seats now. I don't know if is it $350, is it $250? What is it? Should I look and see, since you guys are asking me? Yeah, it's called the Lands of the Bible Cruise. And that's the ship we're going to be on, the Odyssey. Okay? Land of the Bible Cruise. And you can actually, if you want to start the cruise early, or if you want to start this trip early, you can add on to the trip 3 days before September 2nd. Spend 3 days in Rome with me and Heidi and do a tour of the Vatican, of the Colosseum, of where Apostle Paul and where Peter was crucified, and a lot of stuff happened, of course, with the early church in Rome. 3 days in Rome, and then start the cruise. Or you can do that, or you can actually spend 3 more days after the cruise in Istanbul, Turkey with me and Heidi on a 3-day tour of Istanbul. Those are both optional. One is Rome in the beginning and Turkey in the end. You don't have to do either one of those. You can do the main cruise, just the main cruise, which is September 2nd through September 15th. And you need to get your deposits in to get your seat locked down. And I think you have till April to get it completely paid. And I'm looking right now for what is the $250 per person. So your deposit is only $250. So you really should go and get that done. Okay, go and get that done. And so you're locked in. That way you're locked in. Seating is limited. So I don't want you to miss this. Don't wait till the 11th hour. We had people. Let me tell you what happened. I took 57 people to Israel this year in February. 7 people missed the tour. 7 people wanted to go at the last moment. In the last week, they decided, okay, I want to go. And it was too late because the hotels were already booked. I mean, you have to understand, we're not the only game in town. There's people coming from all over the world, and those hotels have to be booked. That's why get your deposit in now, and you have till April something to finish paying, and we leave in September. So you got to get it done between now and April, okay, and sometime in April. And don't wait till that last second, and then we can't get you in. Okay, seats are limited. I think it's just only 50. So you really need to get in. People are getting on board. So no pun intended, but we are taking a cruise. Okay. So anyway, it will be one of the most. Richard, are you going? There's Richard Thornburg. He said that was an amazing trip, Pastor. He went with us. Richard did. And Karen has been on. She didn't go to the last one, but she's been on trips with me as well. Yeah, it was amazing. It was the best one we ever did as far as everything just running smooth. And we stayed in great hotels. We had wonderful food. It was the weather was spectacular. It never rained one day in 8 days there. I told you God opened a window. He told me, I've opened a window, Paul. Take people to Israel. Take people to Israel. I've opened a window. And you notice everything since we left has really been tough over there, but that's settling down again. So this is a very, very, very great way for you to at least see where the Apostle Paul traveled. Imagine traveling these long distances like that and those rickety boats. Matter of fact, he was even shipwrecked. We'll find out. We'll actually stop at the island there when Paul's ship crashed. And he got snake bit, and that was back in the day. But I mean, that was the place where all the men were saved because they stayed with the boat. But anyway, I see Richard Thornburg. He went on the last trip with us, and yes, don't miss this one. He's trying to work it out. I hate to miss it. You don't want to miss this one, Richard. I mean, I'm excited about it because I've never done this. I've never done this cruise trip, the Apostle Paul journey. I always wanted to do it, and then Heidi said to me, she said, "Honey, 2024, that's the time we got to do this. We got to do that now because time is running out, okay? There's still time. And so I keep telling people there's about 3 or 4 prophecies that really need to be fulfilled before the Lord returns because he said it in the Bible. And those are getting close, but they haven't come yet. So the time is now. Get your tickets now. No, yeah, thank you, Tara. Yeah, the $250, that reserves your seat. No, the total cost, I think, is like $5,000 or something. What is it? Cheaper than everybody else that does this. I can tell you that. You can check all the major prophecy ministries or all the big ministries on their tours on this. if you're, and they're like 7,000. Okay, we are by far the cheapest because we do everything in our power, not because we do it rinky-dink. Quite the opposite. We negotiate better food, better lodging, and better situations for everybody. It depends on what room you want. Like if you want a ocean view, it's so much. If you want an interior room where you're not on the ocean, of course, you can always come out on the deck. That's a little cheaper. If you want a balcony stateroom, the best of it, that's a little more. So, yeah, it's $5,348, I think. $5,348. Ocean view is $5,698, and looks like balcony is $6,098. But by far, like I said, we're about $2,000 cheaper on all of it than everybody else. So, and if you want to go 3 days early, spend 3 days with me and Heidi in Rome, and go to the Vatican, go to the catacombs, go to the Colosseum, go to unbelievable. You'll see the Sistine Chapel and the paintings by Michelangelo and some of the others. It's an incredible thing to do. Okay. No, Amit. Who, Amit? No, Amit can't guide this one, Richard. I'm glad you asked, because he's just an Israeli tour guide. He can't travel on the ship. So we will have different guides. But we will have Georgina. You remember her? She will be our director, and she will travel with us the whole time. So, and she is incredible. So we will have her, but we'll have 2 other new guides. And part of it is we'll stop in Greece. We'll get a guide for Greece. We'll stop in Crete. They'll give us a guide for Crete. We'll go to, each country and each stop, they give us a different, because each country has tour guides, so they have to share. So Georgina will stay with us through the whole thing, okay? So, and you guys know she was spectacular in that. So, all right. So now I said I was going to do a different video and explain the whole thing, and here I am explaining it now. Of course, I can always do it again, right? Because not everybody's going to watch this video, so I'll probably have to. So get it done. I don't know how many people have already signed up right now. I don't know. I think it was like 10. And we got 50 seats. So let's not mess around. And I know what's going to happen. You say, well, I don't know. And then all of a sudden it's getting closer and closer. And then I think I'll go. And you'll find out there's already been 50. And then I'm trying to squeeze you in. I was able to squeeze 2 people in, but there were 7 people I couldn't get in. So don't wait. Get on board. No pun intended. I'll be back with more current world events and drink some coffee. It's a pretty busy day out there, especially things that are happening that are pertaining to prophecy. So this Iranian thing, pretty huge. I'll be right back after a song. I see geese flying high above the water, a child fishing with his father in the rain. I can smell blackberry brandy and chocolate-covered candy. I see a soldier crying on a train, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And the light under the Tiffany lamp glows all night long as I dream with weary wonder, leaving Earth before the dawn. I walk the lonely streets of Paris. I was lost and so afraid, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. Thank you, Tara. Thank you, Tara, for helping Roxanne there. Let's get her signed up. She wants to go. I feel the deepness of his weakness I can taste the brandy sweetness at a roadside Idaho cafe. Yeah, Samuel, go back and watch this over, because I can hear old Teddy laughing, Fitzgerald's toes a-tapping to the roaring sounds of yesterday. Falling asleep, reading Hemingway. God bless you, Richard. And the light under the Tiffany lamp glows all night long as I dream with weary wonder, leaving Earth before the dawn. I walk the lonely streets of Paris. I was lost and so afraid, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And the light under the Tiffany lamp glows all night long as I dream with weary wonder. Thank you, Renee. Leaving Earth. Thank you, Pamela. For the dawn. I walked the lonely streets of Paris. I was lost and so afraid, falling asleep. Thank you, Miss CD. Reading Hemingway. And a shotgun blast echoed across the page, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. I'll be back, guys, with more current world events and how they relate to biblical prophecy here on another edition of the coming apocalypse. God bless you guys.